I can't hear you.
Now you can.
No, I can't.
Can you see the screen okay?
Oh yeah, the screen's fine.
I noticed there were some fingerprints on it, so that could be. There we go.
Oh, very clear. There you go.
So much better in round 2.
Yeah.
I never promised to be a tech wizard, so.
No, it's so clear now.
That's Matt saying hello to everyone.
Hello.
He's such a funny guy.
I'm a mushroom. I'm a fun guy.
He's a mushroom. He's a fun guy.
A fun guy.
Yep, the dad jokes are just rolling this afternoon.
I have a whole book of them at home.
We do. We have a whole book of the dad jokes at home that we've been reading to the kids, and you know, making them really wish that all of this was over so that they didn't put up with it. So, all right, just because we know our time is limited and I've got a lot to show you guys, I am going to jump right in and move my laminator over. Let's see if I can find a spot to put it. All right, you can see the laminator here in the corner. So this afternoon for part 2, if you missed the ink blending an hour ago, we were doing some pretty blends using just Distress Oxide. Look, I've even marked this one up already. We've got some different color shades and combinations. Now we're going to up the ante and add some foil. So we can do pretty stuff like this. Look at that rainbow foil. That's probably one of my favorite ones. We can add it to our ink blended ones here like this. I've got the gold up the side. This one here, I think I showed in part 1 where we've got black foil on the yellow. Here we've got some orange foil on this little Easter ducky. And so I'm going to quickly run through a little bit on product and then show you some stuff. With this one, I had to do a little bit of pre-prepping. So because with the product that we're going to use, you do need to let it dry for at least an hour. But I've gone ahead and done that to you, so I'll demonstrate how to do it, then put that one aside and use my as seen on TV versions that are already pre-done. So I'm going to sit down. Otherwise, I shout when I stand. So we're going to use a couple of different products. Oh, what happened there?
Emergency alert.
Well, good timing for an emergency alert on the phone. Fantastic. How do I turn that off? There we go. There we go. Emergency alerts are good, but crafting is better. So Matt says the alert just said to stay home. Anyways, I'm gonna show you some stuff with the Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo. I'm also going to show you this brand new product that we just got in, which is the Transfer Gel Ballantyne. And we're going to be using a bunch of different stuff. We're going to be using some foils. We're going to be using some flock. Flock being stuff to be fuzzy. Matt's saying I have to be careful how I say that. Make sure I enunciate and say flock, not the other version of it. And I'm also going to show you some brand new stuff from Gina, not Gina K, from her daughter Rena K, which is enamel. Works just like foil, but it gives that really hard, glossy look, almost like nail polish. So for the process, let me get my mouse out of the way. Like I said, with the transfer gel, basically what I've done with all of the examples here is I have used this gel with a spatula or whatever these things are called and run it through the stencil so that we create a slick and shiny surface. This one here, I don't know if it's gonna, oh, there we go. There you can see where, just there you can see the shine where the stencil has gone through. This is a super sticky paste. So sticky that you have to be really careful to make sure you clean off your threads whenever you're done, or you're never going to get the lid off. So it's this thick white paste. It will go on white but dry to clear. So that's now that sorry, when that's how you know it's done or when it's ready to go is when it dries to clear. The Blanco is it's a slightly more of a lotion consistency, and it goes on so that when you're using it on dark paper or really busy paper, it allows the foil or flock or whatever to really have some intensity. So for example, with this one here, I used orange flock using the transfer gel, and you can see how you can kind of see that ghosting of the black in behind. With this one, I did the exact same process, but with the Blanco gel. And you can see how it's got a lot more intensity, a lot more opaqueness, and really helps with the vibrancy of whatever product you're using. So I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, let me show you how this works. Transfer Duo gel. Now, the reason why they call it Duo is because you can use it either with heat or with pressure. Today, we're going to be using the laminator, and you do not need to get a super duper expensive laminator. Oh, there's another emergency alert. You do not need an expensive laminator. The one I got was $24.95 at Walmart. It's just a basic Scotch one. It's got a 3 mil setting and a 5 mil setting. I'm not really sure what the 3 and the mil stands for, but 3 is low and 5 is high, as I have learned. You want something that is going to give you a bit of heat, but you can also do it with pressure. So once you've done all these the prep steps that I'm going to show you, you could run it through your Big Shot or your Cuddle Bug or anything with pressure, or depending on the size of it, you can even just use your finger and burnish it with a burnishing tool, or even just with your fingernail. So we're going to go through all of that. So I'm going to take this pretty egg here that I created earlier when we were doing the ink blending. I am going to take this stencil. This is a Gina K stencil, and I use this lattice pattern. I like to tape it down just so it doesn't move. So I'm going to go across like that. Let me use my skinny purple tape. And I'm just going to go like so. And I am putting it right on the created surface because I tend to be a little bit messy with this gel, so that helps just protect a little bit more of that surface. This side shouldn't be too bad because it's protected by the rest of the stencil, but I'm just going to tack it down like so. All right, so I'm going to get out my gel, and when you're putting it on, you can be generous because we are basically going to end up scooping the excess off and putting it back in the jar. So you can see I'm just putting a nice coat over the stencil here, like so. But if I were to leave it like this and take the stencil off, it will take 3 days to dry. And I tell you that because I have learned from experience. So I am now going to now I could just scrape it off with the smaller spatula, but I found that I don't get a lot of even edge to it. So Deco Foil has a product called the Stencil Pal, and I love that it's got this nice straight edge that I can just scrape right across, and you can see that now you can already see the stencil coming through. You may not be able to see. Here, let's see if I can zoom in my camera. No, I can't, but you're just going to get a nice, really thin coat through there, and then you've got all this excess on here that you can scoop back into your container. So you really can put it on generously and yet still be frugal with what you're doing. And then I would just simply lift up my stencil. And voila. So you can see right now that it looks white, but when it dries, it dries to clear, and that's how you know it's done. When I did my prep work, I actually did it last night. So with the Transfer Gel Duo, you can leave it for even 24 hours and still go back the next day and use it. So I have found it's really easy to prep a whole bunch of stuff, leave it to dry, and then that way you can kind of use it as you go along. I will tell you though that it does get sticky, so you don't want to prep for like weeks ahead, because if you try to then stack them on top of each other, they are going to stick to each other and you're not going to get the look that you want. So there's that one egg. I'm going to grab a baby wipe, clean up my excess. Just to show you the difference, I'm going to show you the Blanco as well. And then I'm going to start applying the foils and things to my pre-prepped ones so that you guys can see how it all turns out. So put that one away. We're going to switch to the Blanco.
Can I ask a quick question, Sheri?
Of course, Janet.
Does the Blanco work with both pressure and heat, or is it just work with heat?
The Blanco is just heat.
Okay.
The only one that we know of so far that works both ways is the Duo gel. And because
Okay.
it's got Duo in the name, that's how I'm always remembering that that's that one.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. My paper towel. Let me just dry off my surface here. All right, so I'm going to grab this egg this time. I'm going to grab a different stencil. This is probably one of my absolute favorite stencils, which is this mandala stencil. I'm going to, again, like I did with the stencil in the first session, I'm going to put my flower just kind of towards that big fat part of the egg. I'm going to tape it down just so it doesn't move on me. Now, when you're doing these techniques, I do find that the stencils that have a little bit more space in between the holes work a whole lot better than ones that are quite dainty. I do have some Tim Holtz ones where the sections are quite dainty, and I find that the gels seep underneath a little bit. So you do want something that's pretty hardy there. So you can see this one is a little bit of a different consistency, almost like a lotion, but the same kind of idea. I'm going to apply it generously.
Here most days, we're trying to take Sundays off right now just because we're doing it right. So somebody is usually here.
Just like so.
Between 10 and 3 every day. We're gonna shift that
Scoop
a little
off
bit
my
later
excess.
for this coming week.
This one has Duo gel on it. Let me grab, oh, maybe I won't because I can't find it. Let me wipe this stencil pal off.
Okay.
And then again, I'm just going to scrape,
Yeah. if you
scoop
know
it back into my jar,
I will-
scrape again, see if I can fill in those holes a little bit. Maybe this one you can see a little better. As long as you can see the stencil through your layer of paste, you know that you've got a nice thin layer. If you start seeing paper showing through, you've probably taken off too much. If it's still really thick and you can't see the shape of the stencil, then you've got too much. It is a bit of a learning curve and you're going to practice with it, but trust me, once you start playing with this stuff, it is super addictive. So now I'm going to lift. And look how beautiful that is. Now, just to let you guys know, this is what I have off to the side. It's just a little tinfoil tray with a little bit of water in it. So what I'm doing is once I'm done with my stencil, I'm dumping it in there so it stays wet. That way, when I'm done, I can go and clean it up quite easily and don't have to worry about cleaning after every single time I use a particular stencil. Those I just got from the dollar store. It's a great technique that Alexis taught us. All right, so there is my other prepped one. Now, earlier today, I had one of these and I turned it upside down and it fell. And guess what? It still worked. So as long as you've got that nice, even coat on it, it's going to work beautifully. And look, I just put so look at that. It happens to all of us. We start messing around. I put my stencil on top of my wet one. That one might not work as well because it's got some raised areas, but you know what? Guess what? We all make mistakes. All right, so now on to the magic part. Let's clean this up a bit. How are we doing for time? I can't see my clock, so that means we still got time. It is 2:15. Perfect. All right, so now my tools are cleaned up. Put this back on. This one I don't find as sticky to work with. So, I mean, it's still a good practice to clean the threads on your bottle. But again, with this one, make sure you clean those threads with a baby wipe, or make sure you have a teenage boy in your house to open it up for you, because otherwise I couldn't get them in. All right, let me move over. Where was my clear one? So here is my duck that I've gelled with. This is using the Duo gel, and it's got some little stars on it. I have my laminator set up. And what you have to do is take a piece of parchment paper, or you can also use printer paper. I've just folded it in half to make a little folder. A little extra pressure never hurts, so I've got 2 just extra scrap sheets of cardstock in here, and I'm going to feed all of this in so that it all kind of lines up with that crease. I'm going to put my duck in, and I'm going to use some black foil on this. Now again, foil is awesome because you can get a lot of use out of a single sheet. Most of our foils come in these tubes. You get, let me see, you get, I want to say there's 6 sheets in it, or sorry, 5 sheets. But they're nice and big, and you can cut them up. I do find it easier to cut them up so that you can work with it a little bit more handily. With foil, you want to put the pretty side up. So I'm going to put, as opposed to the silver side. Unless, of course, it's silver. That one's a little bit trickier, but usually the shinier side is the side you want up. Going to make sure that all my gel areas are covered. Close up my sandwich. Feed it into the laminator. Here, let me, like so. And then let it go. Just make sure that all the layers get grabbed as that laminator goes through. And it's going to pop it out the bottom. With the foil, you don't necessarily have to do this, but just a good practice, I like to put it through twice just to make sure that it's got good pressure and good heat as it's gone through. And you can just roll it right around. It is warm, but you're not going to burn your fingers. So just be careful. It might surprise you that first time, but then beyond that, and you can't speed up the process. It's kind of like the Cricut where you want to start it and then you can go and work on something else and come back and grab it. So now I'm going to pull my ducky out, and then you just kind of want to roll it away from your paper, like so. Now it looks like I had some little extra flecks on there of the gel. You can see got little tiny black specks here. Well, we've got a tool for that, because of course we do. Jennifer McGuire loves this tool. It is called the Detailer tool. It's got a little eraser on the end, got a motor, so it spins and turns. Almost sounds like a dental tool, but it's not. But let me show you. So right down here, there's a little black fleck. If I just take my tool, and now it's gone. And I can do this one here. If you're clever and you've seen that you've got gel somewhere where you don't want it, even before you put the foil on, you can usually catch it that way too. But now he's all nice and clean. So that's using the black foil. I've got this little bunny here, and what I did is I actually took, I think I put it in the wash now, but there was a little cupcake topper that I'm going to make look like hair on our little bunny here. But you can see again, I have a little smudge, so I'm going to try and clean that off. And let's give him some rainbow hair. All right, I've lost my scissors already, but that's okay. So let me grab my little sandwich. my bunny. I'm gonna put him sideways. I'm gonna use this little corner. So again, you can move this around. You can keep using the foil until every little nook and cranny is gone. Now that's gonna be tricky going through the laminator, but we'll make it work. There we go. So the foil going through like this is not going to cause any issue from a heat perspective. It's not going to stick on the inside. The only time that the foil is going to stick to anything is if it is sticky. Come on. Yes, I'm impatient. All right, so normally I would put it through twice, but because it's little, I'm just going to do it once. And how cool is that? So I guess I didn't do a good job cleaning all that little bit off. Let me see if I can. But that rainbow foil is super cool. All right. What else do I have prepped here? Oh, I've got another bunny with stars. Did a brown bunny, got some stars. Let's show him in gold. You can see how this can be really addictive. So, yeah, there's only one. You have to be careful with the foils because they do tend to be quite thin, so it's easy to get two sheets together. But I have put it through with two sheets together and not had any issue whatsoever. The top one does not stick. It just goes through and gets a little warmed up. All right. So here we go. Look at how cute that is. That would make an awesome Easter card with all those gold stars. I thought I had a few more prepped, but I can't see to lay my hands on them. So let me just talk you through it. So when we did, so this is the black one that I did with the Blanco gel. And with the flock is different because you want to do pretty side down. That way the flock is going to stick to the medium. And again, you're going to put it through the laminator with that pretty side down to make it stick. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. Okay, let's see if we can do this one. So I was telling you that this also works with pressure. So this one I put through with heat, but you can see that I missed, let me see, maybe you can't. Anyways, I've missed a few areas here. So because what I did is I took out existing foil that I had used for something else and just the spots missed a little bit. So I'm just going to take the corners here. Yeah, I don't think I can zoom in. I'm going to put that solid area down over the spot that I need to fix. Just give it a rub. And that fixes that spot. And you can just keep moving it around. So you really are, let's see if I can bring it up to the camera. So I'm just going to really rub it. And then when you peel, it has fixed those spots. So that's the other nice thing that I like about the Duo Gel is that even if you're using heat, if you have boo-boos that you need to fix up, you can just apply that little bit of pressure and away you go. So that is using all of the foil and the flock. And then this one was using the enamel sheets. So with the enamel sheets, these ones I do find the hardest to tell what is the right side and the wrong side, but you can see that this is, there's a shiny side, and then this one is definitely more of a matte side. You're gonna make sure that the matte side goes down. And I think the way that I try to remind myself is you want this to look like nail polish. Nail polish is usually shiny, so you want the shiny side up. That's the best way to remember. But it doesn't end there. And we've got a few more minutes, so I'm going to jump into the next thing I'm going to show you.
No questions?
No, before I go on, are there any questions? Does anybody have anything they want to know? All right, I'm going to keep rolling. Please interrupt me if you have questions. So you can create your own stripes with your score tape. So I took this egg, I used score tape just to create stripes across here. And the nice thing about these having their backings on them is that you can do different colors. So I'm going to peel this one off, and I'm going to do some orange. So I'm just going to lay it down on the edge, give it a really good rub. If you have an old credit card or an old gift card, you can use that as well. Voila. Now I'm going to peel off the next one.
Hey, Sheri.
Yes.
Tracy's question for you. So in the picture you sent out, and I'm sorry, I was late onto the first call, so maybe you covered it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you show kind of the leafy stuff with like the leaf stencil. So is that kind of like what you're showing with the stars on the ducky? It's just a different stencil using the same. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So the one that I used in the picture, that came from, I believe, Spellbinders. I had a girlfriend send it to me and said, you know what, this would make a great video. So before I had my own samples done, I just put that up to show you guys kind of what the idea was. And then we're just playing with the different ways that you can use the product to create that same look. So I would imagine that the person who created that had a stencil that had the vines, and she took her egg or her bunny and just put it on the bottom. So much like I did with this one here, where I just used the stencil on the bottom, it's kind of that same approach. I just didn't have a stencil that was viney, so we're going with what I got. Sound good?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so
when we're back in like seeing people, I'd love to do a class of this to actually feel and do it in hands-on to see how comfortable I am with it.
Absolutely. I did do one, I think it was our February Take 5 class, but I mean, I could do an entire day on foils. So absolutely, we will do this again, because seeing is one thing, and I hope you're getting some good tips on it and feeling confident that you could get some of this stuff and just play with it. But being hands-on definitely is second to none in terms of what you can do with it.
For sure.
All right, so I'm going to peel the second one. I'm going to choose, I've got gold here, so I'm going to use that. And again, I'm just going to take, I've already used this one. It's got the stars taken out, but I can line it up so that I'm using a part that I haven't used yet. Rub it along. I mean, I think we all like to hoard our scraps to some degree. And it looks like my tape had a bit of a bump, but you can see how now we've got the orange and the gold. Sorry, after what I was saying, everyone likes to hoard their scraps, and we have our own threshold as to, okay, well, what point, at what size of scrap do I start throwing stuff away? With foil, you can get an awful lot. I find that I'm hoarding my foil even more than I hoard my paper scraps. I'm very hard pressed to throw it out. All right, I'm going to use the blue on this one, just pull the blue from the edge here. So you can see you don't need a really big area of foil to still be able to use it. That edge is sticking. Let's try from the, so if you get something like that where it's resisting you, it should pull easily. If it's resisting you, start from a different corner, because sometimes it's just about the angle that you're pulling. So look at that.
Nice.
Getting my running out of time message. Here we go. So that's just using your score tape and your foil. So if you want to try this and get started and you're really scared by the pastes, try the adhesive approach. The other thing you can do, so again, anything sticky will hold this foil. I used foam squares. You could do pop dots if you want circles. And then I did the stripes underneath. Now, what I try to do with the foam squares, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. Now I'm stuck to my paste here. Is I tried to peel the backings off before I took the squares off the sheet so that I could put them down and they would stay in a line, but they're not always cooperative. So just be, you know, it's definitely something to try. All right. I think that is just about it for all the good stuff I wanted to show you. You can do a little bit of it. So this was with an orange section stencil that I turned into a flower. You could do it on pattern paper. You can do the full-on stencil with the enamel, cover the whole area. You can do it like this one where you just do a portion of it. Really, the only limit is your imagination and the stencils you have. And you can layer them different ways and have lots of fun with it. So I need to clean up now. But part of me wants to just keep playing. We'll see if Matt will let me keep playing. No, I've been told no. I've got to get to work. But hopefully you guys picked up a few tips and tricks. It introduced you to foils and enamels. So the enamels are fantastic. They're brand new from Rena K. They come in 4 neon colors. There's the pink, orange, green, and yellow. They're probably my favorite thing to play with right now, but the foils come in all kinds of colors as well. And you can just have lots of fun. So
What colors do the flock come in, Sheri?
again, the flock, there's quite a wide range of it. I can't see my section here, but oh, so we do have in the Rena K line, we have the 4 neon colors in flock as well. So
Okay.
orange, pink, yellow, and green. But I believe we also have white. We have a few other colors. So again, there's a wide range of colors. If you go to the Deco Foil website, if we don't have a particular color, they should have all the colors listed, and I'm more than happy to order in colors for you.
Thanks.
I think the white would be especially great at Christmas time when we are doing snow and Santa and whatnot. I use the blue here on the ducky to look like water bubbles, as if he was in a baby's bath. It may be really great baby cards that you could use with this one. And there are a whole bunch of colors. I just can't remember off the top of my head what colors we have here in the store. One other thing I will caution you about, there are all kinds of foils out there. So there's actually 3 main types. One is called a heat foil. That is for use with things like the Spellbinders foil press. Gemini has a foil press, and you put those through a machine, but it has a special heated plate, and you use special metal dies in order to transfer the foil to the paper. Then there is reactive foil, which is what we use today. It reacts to heat or it reacts to pressure using the medium that we use through the stencil. And then there is a third kind, and here's my notes here. The third kind is just called adhesive foil. So some of the same techniques that we did here with the tape, those are be the only way that those adhesive ones. So examples of those are Prima, the Ranger, and the redesigned Decor Foil. My best advice is if you are using a medium, and so this one is the gel and it's by Deco Foil, use the same brand of foil. Don't try to cross brands, at least until you learn how they all work, because not all foils are the same. So I just wanted to caution you with that. We do sell some of the heat foils here as well. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, because I am learning more and more about this and can help steer you in the right direction as to what to get to put all this stuff together. I guess the best way to think of it is the reactive foil is kind of the best of both worlds, depending on what medium you do with it. But then there's the heat that is only heat, and there's the adhesive, which is only pressure. So there you have it, ladies. We've got just a couple minutes left. I want to thank you for coming back for part number 2 here. As you can see, there's no way we could have crammed all of this in, and I'm having lots of fun showing you stuff. I also want to give you a teaser of what I've planned for next week. Next week is going to be more project-based that all of you can join in. All you need is some glue, some scissors, and some 6x6 paper pieces of paper. We're going to make some little Easter baskets.
Oh, cute.
Sweet.
And I've got this one here. That's rainbow. My adhesive isn't sticking super well, but that's what we're going to plan for next week. And hopefully I have a very productive rest of my weekend, that I've got even more stuff to announce in our newsletter this week. We've got lots of plans, and since we're all going to be here for a little while, I'm going to keep you entertained and educated. So that's it for me today, ladies. Thank you again for coming out. I'm going to sign off. Matt's going to put me to work, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thanks, Sheri.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Sheri.
Bye.
Thanks, Sheri.
Bye.
Have a great day. Bye, Trace.